guess what? I am going to turn off the podcast and I'm just going to delete all of Hey, did you ever see that movie?
Oh, shit. That's a little extreme.
Did you ever see that movie? Did you ever see that movie? Did you ever see that movie?
Showtime. Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Lynn.
Oh, the harbor's open and it's Fleet Week.
Oh, yeah. Should have been here earlier. And joining us again this week, the podcaster with a fully packed bong, Pat. What's up, Pat?
Is Brad dead again?
Okay.
Just
This
a little.
week This week we will be discussing the 2017 comedy movie Daddy's Home 2. This movie was directed by Sean Andrews and written by Brian Burns. It stars Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell, Linda Cardellini, Mel Gibson, and John Lithgow. As always, this podcast will contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. And now, it's time for another installment of Disaster Piece Theater. So sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to Disaster Piece Theater, where me and my two co-hosts will act out one scene from the movie that we are reviewing for you this evening. So please, sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Dawn. Wake up. Dawn. Wake up. Dawn.
Kurt, are you okay? Do you have a bad dream? Do you need to talk?
Yeah, I need to be held. My heart hurts. No, did you touch the thermostat?
Well, of course not. Did someone fiddle with the thermostat?
Yes, it's at 85 degrees.
85? Do you have any idea how much even a few degrees could affect the gas bill?
Of course I do. It's unthinkable.
Dad? Kurt? What's going on in here? Why is it so hot?
Someone fiddled with the thermostat.
What do you think you're doing?
I like to sleep with my window open.
Hey, kid, are you allowed to touch the thermostat at your mom's house?
Duh.
Cut!
That was pretty good. Dude, when you do the little kid voices, it's fucking hilarious. It fucking cracks me up, so do it again.
I like to sleep with my window open. It's like I'm like a gremlin or something. I don't know.
It's fucked up. All right. Okay. Shit. Okay. And now it's time for Dez's 4-in-1 fun and one fake fact, where it will be up to my two co-hosts to figure out which fact is total bullshit. Fact number 1. Chevy Chase and Robert De Niro were considered for the roles of the two fathers. Number 2. The film was predominantly shot in different locations throughout my hometown of Massachusetts. Fun fact, I was born in New York, though. Fact number 3. The script was written about the writer, Brian Burns' own experiences as a stepdad. Number 4. Actor John Lithgow received 2 butterfly stitches on the side of his head after slipping on the ice in the snowball fight scene. And number 5. Mark Wahlberg actually did 700 unassisted one-arm pull-ups on the day of shooting. Pat, which of these facts do you think is bullshit?
5.
Have you seen his biceps?
I
And
have.
Lynn, which of these facts do you think is bullshit?
Number 5.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Mark Wahlberg is buff. He did 700 unassisted one-arm pull-ups on the day of shooting, 100%.
I want verification of that.
No, he did. He absolutely did.
Show me where you found that piece.
Mark-
Send me the link. Send me the
Oh, I
link to
will.
the
I
script
will.
that said that.
Ma-
No,
There's
now.
actual video of Mark Wahlberg if you watch the after scenes saying that during that day of shooting he had to do over 700 unassisted, not in a row, not 36 dicks in a row, but during the day he ended up doing
I
700
could have sworn that
unassisted.
that was for the first movie, not for this movie.
Whatever.
Anyway,
It was for the first movie. That was not for the second movie.
doesn't matter. You guys both still got it wrong. You still got
No,
it wrong.
that's
It was-
not. We got it right because that did not happen for this movie.
All right. Well, then
You're
fine.
wrong.
Fine. Then today's going to be 4
Wow.
fun facts. Okay.
Okay,
So
so
which of
Four.
which of the 4 facts do you think is
Okay.
total bullshit?
The one about Chevy Chase and whoever the hell else was supposed to be the father.
Robert
Robert
De
De Niro.
Yeah,
Angelin, what do you think?
I'm gonna say Chevy Chase and Robert De Niro, considering you spelled De Niro completely wrong in the script.
Okay. Well, you're also still wrong, both of you. Chevy Chase and Robert De Niro were in fact considered for the roles of the two fathers. The faked fact is John Lithgow did not receive 2 butterfly stitches on the side of his head after slipping on ice.
I want to
During
know
the
where you're
storm,
getting
I
this
think.
information from.
The Google machine.
No, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Yeah. So me and my mother had an argument about she- so my mother does this thing where she has to she'll be like, oh, you should Google it. Like I don't know what the fuck Google is, right? So we were having this
No, she
argument.
doesn't
and
say
then,
you should Google it. She says you should use the Google machine.
whatever she says, it's fucking
Well,
annoying. and I
that
know how to
actually
fucking
makes more sense for her sounding insane than the way you say it.
yeah. Well, I know how to fucking Google shit, right? So I've told her a million times, please stop fucking doing that. If I need some information, I know how the internet works. I know how to fucking Google shit. Okay. So then from that, it transitioned into somehow her telling me how she fucking was buying something with a check. And I'm like, a check? I'm like, a paper check? Like you wrote a check to someone? And it might have been for grocery shopping. And she got so butthurt that I was making fun of her. I'm like, only old people use checks. I'm like, I didn't think that was still a thing. And she got so mad. We had this big argument over it.
I can't
And
imagine
then-
why.
But then she was watching a movie, and in the movie, one of the jokes was the grandmother buying something with a check, and the granddaughter not knowing what it was. She's going, "What's that? You can't pay for that with a piece of paper." And my mother called me. She's like, "All right, I get it. I'm old." So yeah, so pretty funny.
That's pretty
all right.
bad when a generation has no idea what writing a check means.
Yeah, they don't even know what a check is.
That's friggin' scary.
Yeah.
But to be real, I don't think I've written a check in 3 or 4 years now. And when
I'm
I
the same
was
way.
writing a check, it literally was I wrote 2 checks a year, one to the IRS and one for something else. Like that was literally all I ever used checks for.
Yeah, you wrote a check the other day that your ass couldn't cash when I armbarred you in the living room.
Oh, dear God.
Okay. Dylan, will you please give us... Oh, sorry. Let me give you the box office for this gem. With
Oh,
a budget
could ya?
of $69 million and a box office gross of $104 million, this, once again, was a huge success. Just real quick, let's do an opening thought on this.
Sure.
So, Pat, have you seen this movie before preparing for the podcast?
I have not.
Okay. And Dylan, you obviously have, because I've watched this movie from opposite ends of the house with you, so I know you've seen it. I have also seen this movie about 1 million times.
I think we actually saw this movie in the theater, me and you together,
Yes.
at
agreed.
Christmas time.
Yes.
Oh, that must have been weird.
Yeah. Our whole life is weird. So this one is not as laugh out loud funny as the first one for me. Though there are plenty of laughs where I am laughing out loud. At times it feels a little bit almost like skits that are strung together. But it's more interesting of a story than the first one. Getting a lot of backstories in this one, a lot of character development. It's just a meatier movie, if that makes sense. So I think it's better cinema, but I would choose to watch the first one 100 times before I'd watch this one. But I still think this is a great movie. So, Dylan, give us a synopsis and let's break this bitch down.
Nobody else gets an opening thought?
You guys had your opening thoughts.
Uh,
honey,
what?
honey, you should have said that like the little girl. That would have been so.
Nobody else can. Okay. So my opening
Dude,
thought is
you
this.
you get an opening thought if you do it in the little girl voice.
I'm not doing it in the little girl voice. Oh Jesus. I agree that this one is not as good as the first one. However,
However,
to me, this is a Christmas movie.
Yes.
It's a Christmas movie.
It
So,
is.
like, this would be like the kind of movie I'd like to put on at Christmas time and enjoy as a Christmas movie. You know, it gives you that nice Christmas feeling at the end. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, like,
yeah.
you know, like this would, you know, fall into rewatch at Christmas.
So I'll add this to my Christmas rotation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will too.
So, yeah, I mean, because you already know who Brad is, you already know who Dusty is, you already know who Sarah is. They don't spend time teaching you anything new about these people other than a little bit of Dusty's background and Brad's childhood. But you get more of all of it, plus the Lithgow and Gibson dynamics, like butting heads. I thought it was fantastic. It's a lot of fun. So
Yeah. Pat, without reviewing the entire movie and giving us your final thoughts.
Yeah. Moving on. No, actually, I agree with you. I thought the first one was funnier, but I agree that the second one had a lot more depth and character. And I think what changed was, in the first one, it was Dusty versus Brad. In the second one, it's Kurt versus Dawn. Because
Dude, in the second one, it's everybody versus everybody. It's a fucking smackdown. Girls versus boys versus wives versus fathers versus... It's a smackdown. Jesus versus fucking... versus fucking...
one of the
Joseph.
wise men.
Holy shit.
Oh my goodness.
All right, let's get it
right,
started.
let's move on. Okay, so father and stepfather, Dusty and Brad, join forces to make Christmas time perfect for the children. Their newfound partnership soon gets put to the test when Dusty's old school macho dad and Brad's gentler father arrive to turn the holiday upside down. After a sudden change in plans, the four men decide to take the kids to a luxury resort for a fun-filled getaway that turns into a hilarious and chaotic adventure.
Nice. All right, let's get some opening scenes going here.
Opening scenes, opening thoughts.
No,
Anything
we already
else you
did
wanna
opening
open?
thoughts. Let's
We already
rock
did.
this
Anything else you
movie.
want to open?
Let's do this, dirty dog.
Let's jump into the first scene.
All right, here we go. After finally becoming friends at the end of the first Daddy's Home film, Brad Whitaker, played by Will Ferrell, and Dusty Mayron, played by Mark Wahlberg, have a good co-dad system where their two children, Megan and Dylan, take turns at each other's father's houses. Dusty is also remarried, as we saw at the end of the first movie, to Karen, played by Alexandra Ambrosio, who is a writer, and is also stepdad to her daughter, Adriana, and that relationship is a tense one. Brad and his wife Sarah, played by Linda Cardellini, along with Dusty and Karen, attend a school play for Megan, where she announces to the whole audience that she doesn't like the fact that she has to go back and forth to different houses all the time. Back at the house, Dusty and Brad decide to do away with having separate Christmases and instead do one together Christmas. As soon as Dusty announces the news to the kids, the phone rings. Dylan picks it up to find out it's Grandpa Kurt, played by Mel Gibson, Dusty's ex-astronaut, that's hard to say, womanizing father. Kurt tells Dusty that he's coming for Christmas and he's arriving in the morning. Brad tells Dusty that his parents are also coming in the morning for the holidays. So, Pat, I was so happy that they got both of the kids back for this movie because, you know, with kids, they could have gotten a little too old before this movie got greenlit, you know?
Right.
And as we said with the last movie, normally kids in a movie are not my jam, but these two are just super fantastic and great.
Yeah, they're really good. And you get the addition of their baby brother, Griffey.
Yes.
I hate
Little
to do
Griffey.
this to you, Dylan, but Dusty's wife, Karen, is not Karen Ambrosio. It's
Adriana.
Alexandra Ambrosio.
Oh, what is it?
Oh,
You
Alexandra
got
Ambrosio.
script name with real name. I thought that was
I flipped them.
quite the match.
I had a moment. Thank you.
Nice. Excellent.
I just thought that would be good for Dez's self-esteem. You made a
Sure.
mistake.
Yeah, you fucked up. So stupid.
Oh,
Okay.
fantastic.
The opening scene I thought was really funny. Did we even get to the point where what's his name?
Oh, you're
Brad
really
gets
lucid tonight.
Yeah, I know. Really. No,
Are you going to say something about the movie?
I'm thinking about the scene where Brad was at the playground, and I'm not sure we got that far yet.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
was at the very,
that's-
very
That
beginning.
is
That's
part
the
of the
opening scene of the movie.
with the credits.
See-
Yeah.
Yes. So
It's-
if we haven't got there, we haven't started yet.
Okay, fine. Wise ass. I thought it was great that Brad avoided the first kick from the swing, but only to take the tetherball full force right into the face. Get totally discombobulated, and then take a double foot in the face from the swing.
But get up like a ninja.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But there was a fair amount of slapstick comedy in here that I thought was absolutely perfectly timed, and that was the opening scene. You knew more was coming, and I looked forward to that.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I love the playground scene. I love the we're gonna see Dusty now is directing the school traffic, keep it inside the cones like an ice cream cone. And
Oh yeah.
Brad's gonna bring him the hot chocolate with a little licorice in it and little marshmallows all in formation. Way to go, Brad. And I really liked all this. Throughout this movie, though, I kind of felt like Mark Wahlberg was yelling at me a lot. His character wasn't quite as good as it was in the first movie. But it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. But at the same time, it wasn't resting on his shoulders so much because, John Lithgow and Mel Gibson are both seasoned actors, and they're both so fucking good in this. John Lithgow is magical in this movie.
Also,
I just
shout
love
out
him.
to Karen or to Linda Cardellini saying, "Hey, hey, look at Karen. She's leather pants and side boob for the kids' holiday party."
Oh,
Yeah.
appropriate.
How appropriate.
Appropriate.
And then everybody's favorite, Bill Burr gets one line in the
Yep.
sequel to this, which was fantastic.
So, wait till you guys hear my recasting couch. It's fucking brilliant. You guys are gonna love it. I know Pat's gonna love it.
How exciting.
Nice job. Documented forever.
Excellent.
Okay, excellent. Okay.
All right. Shall we move on?
Please.
Yeah, I think we should.
I think we
That's
should
a
leave it
good
at that
idea.
one. At the airport the next day, Dusty tells Brad that his father's going to make fun of them since he won't understand their co-dad arrangement. When Kurt arrives, he's abrasive and mistakes Brad for a chauffeur. When Dusty explains that Brad is the stepdad to his children, Kurt reacts with derision. Brad's overly cheerful and overly talkative dad, Don, played by John Lithgow, arrives next and proceeds to hug and kiss Brad on the lips, showing that they have a loving yet very unusual father-son relationship.
Creepy.
This further unnerves Kurt. Don tells Brad that his mother didn't come along because she's not feeling well. Des, we're going to have to pause here because this is our first taste of Mel Gibson in the movie, and he's bringing the grizzled Marlboro man perfectly.
Yeah, so this airport scene, we're going to get some really, really good lines here and some really good scenes. So, fucking Brad looks up and he says, looks like he was chiseled from Gibraltar. It's so great. So then we're going to get Dawn kissing Brad. And, fucking Mark Wahlberg says to his father, they haven't seen each other in a long time. And then he reveals it's been 4 weeks. And he says, 4 weeks. It's been a lot longer for us. Want me to take my pants off? And fucking, so then Ron goes in for the kiss on Dusty. And you can tell he's kissed Dusty on the lips before because Dusty he's bobbing and weaving like Mike Tyson's coming in to knock him out. It's fucking great. And then Don says to Kurt, he says, I like to take flights with as many connections as possible so I can have conversations with as many people as possible. And fucking Mel Gibson goes, so you're a lunatic. Good to know. And he goes, yep, that's me.
That's fantastic.
I love this scene. I love this scene.
Fantastic. It's really, it's your first taste of everybody and it's amazing.
Oh, and then when Brad says to Dusty, I think you're looking at this all wrong. I mean, it's a father-son. And he says to the Spanish limo driver from the first movie, you have a son,
Yes.
tell him. And the guy, says something in Spanish and Brad says, see, and obviously Brad doesn't speak Spanish, but Dusty does. And Dusty goes, that wasn't good. What he said wasn't nice. Fucking great. It's fucking great.
Oh, Jesus.
Pat, what'd you
it's
think
so
of the airport
funny.
scene?
The airport scene was great. Once again, Brad is just in awe of Kurt. And Kurt, everything they do, the slow-mo as he's going down the escalator, he's flirting with the girls, going on the up escalator next to her. He does
Flipping the bag over the shoulder.
Holding the bag over the shoulder or the opposite shoulder. It's like, oh my God, this character, it's easily portrayed as Dusty because his confidence is where Dusty's confidence was in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pat, wouldn't you agree that Mel Gibson was mixing in a little bit of Martin Riggs from the final Lethal Weapon movie when he had lightened up and was a little funnier? I was getting saisons of that character.
No.
Nutty eat on cheese. You didn't feel it?
Actually, a little bit. I just had to say no.
Okay. How professional of you.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
Jolene?
he's way what's the word I'm looking for? Like the
Saltier.
Martin Riggs at the end of that last Lethal Weapon movie is happy, and this dude's not happy. And the reason why
he's happy.
He's not happy. He's not happy. The reason why he's so picky is because and he's aggressive, and he's not happy. He's not happy.
I don't know. I feel
he's
like
not
he's happy.
He thinks he's happy, but he's not happy. No,
you think he's unhappy, but he's happy.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I disagree.
Okay.
I don't think he's fulfilled.
Okay, let's move on. He's fulfilled.
Yeah.
What's the cat thing?
Failed his entire family, his entire life. I'm sure he's feeling great about that.
Dude, he went to space. Fucking flew the fucking shuttle.
4
Good for
times.
him.
4 times. Yeah, he's
4
a real
times.
loser. Real loser. Okay,
I didn't
let's
say
move
he was
on.
a loser. I was saying he's not fulfilled.
Too. He packed the shuttle
best.
too.
Don't forget that he packed the shuttle.
He packed it.
But then he has to come and ruin everybody's Christmas. So,
Wow.
feeling very good about himself. It's a classic move.
No, he was like therapy at the end of this.
It's a classic move for people that want to make other people feel as bad as they feel.
No, this was a fault. These two families thought they were getting along and thought everything was good, but clearly it wasn't. And it took the wisdom of 4-time shuttle pilot Kurt to come in and fucking crack that nut and get the problems out on the table. And by the end of the movie, everybody, including Roger, have talked out all their grievances and are a true family.
How dare you try
How
to
dare
spin
you?
it? How dare you that you try to spin it that he comes in with the beneficence in his heart,
Yes,
coming
he did.
to fucking make everybody's lives better. He's coming and fucking pitting people against each other to watch the fucking chaos. That's what he's doing.
That's how you saw it. And I suppose you think that fucking Johnny was the bad guy in The Karate Kid, right?
No, I don't. I think Daniel-san was the bad guy.
That's right. Daniel was a C-U-N-T. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's move on.
All right.
Back at the house, Megan and Dylan warmly embrace Dawn since he's very present in their lives, while Kurt hasn't seen the children since they were toddlers. After seeing Brad and Dusty trying to figure out where to spend Christmas Day at, since they're proposing opening presents at Brad's house and eating Christmas dinner at Dusty's house, Kurt rents a large cabin through Airbnb to house all of them throughout the holiday week. While on paper that sounds like a generous gift to the rest of the family, Kurt has ulterior motives. As Brad and Dusty pack the bags into the car, Dusty tells Brad that Kurt thinks the two men are harboring bad feelings for each other, but are just hiding it from everyone by pretending to be friends. Kurt approaches them and they change the subject, wherein Kurt challenges Dusty, telling him he can't fit all the luggage into the back of the SUV. When Kurt walks away, Dusty realizes that he's right, and instead of admitting it, he takes one of the suitcases and throws it over the hedge, making room. So, Pat, already the cracks are beginning to show in the co-dad situation.
I think they're making the effort to get along for the kids, and like it's revealed later, they are secretly harboring feelings and just keeping them inside for the benefit of the kids. They're getting along, and this is where you see that it's really not really getting along. They're just forcing it.
Right.
Yeah. And thanks to fucking El Padre, fucking they're gonna get to the root of these problems and have a loving family by the end of this movie. So I love in this opening scene, Dawn is going to tell the children, your grandmother couldn't make it, but I brought her home cooked cookies, her old fashioned cookies. And this is the first hint we're going to get that they're no longer together. The kids right away are like, this is fucking Toll House. These are fucking, Chips
Chips
These
Ahoy.
are
Ahoy.
not
This is
grandma's cookies. Yeah.
bullshit,
Tastes like Chips Ahoy.
Yeah, and then the camera's gonna pan over to Dusty and Kurt on the couch. And they're talking about how, you're letting a man with a flabby stomach and a weak will, a weak man raise your child. And then the camera pans over a little more and fucking Brad's sitting right
Brad's
there with
sitting
him and he
right
goes,
there.
"Do you guys want some privacy?" I'm fucking laughing out loud.
That
I
was
think it's
so
great.
perfectly played out. You swear they're only talking to each other, that there's
Yeah.
nobody else within earshot until the camera pans back and the guy they're talking about sitting right there like he wasn't even visible. That
It's
was
so good.
hysterical.
And
Hysterical.
like I said, Mel Gibson, I think he's really bringing it in this. There's a couple of spots where he goes over the top, like with the two hooker stories. It's like, I laughed out loud. I thought
I
it
got a
was
joke
funny.
for you.
But nobody is going to be that obtuse. Did I use that word correctly?
Not really, but close enough.
Okay. Yeah, so I
Credit
know,
for
but I
trying.
laughed out loud. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I thought Mel Gibson, a lot of these moments where Mel Gibson doesn't even say anything. He just makes a facial expression. We're going to get to some of these scenes where the action is going on in the foreground, but my laughs are not coming from what's being said in the foreground. It's from watching Mel Gibson in the background say nothing and just make these mannerisms and faces, and I'm like, oh, this is fucking great.
Like
So-
the drive trip to the cabin
Yes.
when he's stuck with Dawn and Brad, and
Yeah.
The first time I watched the scene, I'm listening to Dawn and Brad, and that's where my focus is. The second time I watched it, I'm noticing the faces that Mel Gibson is making in the back seat.
Yeah.
And
he's
every
mugging.
time they change a game or the scene
Yeah.
montage moves on, I was just like, oh my God, that is so much funnier than listening to Brad and Dawn.
100%. The 100 bottles of beer on the wall, the fucking,
The
and
quiet
now I'm
game.
in this. Yeah. Oh, dude. Go when the quiet game and they show Mel Gibson. He's like, he finally shows a little relief in his face, and then they start talking again. He's like, it's so good.
I can't play the quiet game.
So this is a perfect example of the comedic timing, the way that Mel Gibson is delivering lines in this movie, where it's not the line that he's saying, but it's the timing of how he's saying it and the inflection of his voice. So during the packing of the car scene, Dusty says to him, oh, I'll pack the car. Would you pack the shuttle for all your little space friends? And I love what Mel Gibson says here. He goes, yeah, what would I know about travel? I've only been to friggin' space. And then Dusty says, did you pack the shuttle yourself? And he goes, I did. As a matter of fact, I packed the shuttle. And the way he says it, I did. As a matter of fact, I packed the shuttle. And it's just so fucking funny. If you go back and listen to him say it, the line is hilarious, but it's not a funny line. Really good. Really
It's
good.
the delivery.
Yeah. So, all right, bring us to the cabin.
All right. So Dusty fixes it that Kurt rides up with Brad and Dawn, a ride that is filled with car ride games and lots of noise. Once they reach the cabin, Brad asks if anyone's seen his suitcase. This is just the beginning of the co-dad relationship being put to the test. There's some slapstick moments with Brad in the voice-activated shower before Dusty recounts how Kurt ruined the song Do They Know It's Christmas Time for him because Kurt was too busy flirting with a woman and watching his performance as a kid. Brad tries to encourage Dusty to let it go so he doesn't ruin his own Christmas. We get a montage where Brad almost kills himself and Griffey in a sledding accident, and Kurt tries to buy a gun for Dylan. Then Brad is using the snowblower when he pulls all the Christmas lights into the gears, pulling all the lights off of the house, and then the snowblower crushes Dusty's SUV, much like he did to Brad's SUV in the first movie. So Des, we here at Hey, Do You Ever See That Movie? Love a callback, and this one is 2 movies in the making.
Yeah, and I know it's a little further off in the movie, but the callback is so good because he says, they're arguing about shit they've done to each other. And he says, you crushed my fucking SUV with a snowblower. And then Brad says, yeah, you crushed my SUV with your motorcycle. He goes, again, you. Because Brad actually crushed his own SUV with a fucking motorcycle. And I laughed out loud. So here's some of this great acting from these older actors. It's not what they're saying, it's how they're saying it and what they're doing when they're delivering the lines. So we get our first look inside the cabin, and Dusty and his father have the little parade thing between them. We're like, what do you want us to fucking get you a parade because you got us this place on Airbnb? But the camera is now going to pan over to Don fixing a lamp. Of course, he's sitting in a chair fiddling with a lamp, right? And next to him, Adriana is sitting there on her phone, completely absorbed into this cell phone, right? And Dawn is saying to her, after my supervisor, Kirby Keller, retired, horse farm in the Upper Peninsula, Northern Michigan? And he's like tapping her on the arm as he's telling this story like she's listening. He thinks his stories are interesting. He's completely clueless. He's constantly chomping off at the bit with these dumb stories. And I got to tell you, he reminded me of a character from a past movie, and I think he probably modeled his character after this character. John Candy's Dell from Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. He felt very similar to that for me. And I think even, well, it's not just that. It's all the fucking, these stories that go nowhere. And he's constantly, coming up with these little puns that people say. And he just never shuts up. And he actually, in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Dell is no longer with his wife. She died. But he says in it, I just never know when to shut my big fat mouth. I push people away with all my stupid stories and all my stupid puns. And I almost get this exact same line from Dawn in this movie. So I think this character definitely was loosely modeled after Dell from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I would bet that if you were to talk to the writer, it comes from there a little bit. And even Steve Martin's character a little bit, is drizzled between Dusty and the way they interact with Dawn. So, yeah.
I mean, as far as role models, that's not a bad role model to take. So I'll allow it.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
The singing montage when the flashback to Dusty,
and he's got the
singing.
Bono hair.
All the kids, all the kids are
amazing.
All these kids are dressed in this 80s garb with these flock of seagull hairdos. And oh man, I thought it was really funny. I was laughing. I thought it was really good. Hey, do you think that was really Mark Wahlberg singing, Pat? Okay.
Oh, Jesus. I'll tell you what, though. Brad almost killing himself and Griffey and Sarah.
Yeah.
almost takes out Sarah, too. So I thought that was a hysterical.
And we didn't talk about how the whole reason for this family Christmas is because the little girl reveals at the Christmas show that she doesn't like Christmas because of the split families. Well, we didn't talk about it. Nobody mentioned it. I mean, you read the scene off. And I love how Jerry's going to say, good luck paying for that therapy, boys. And fucking Dusty's like, shut your mouth, Jerry.
And Jerry's like, okay, Dusty.
And I also really loved the fucking lady gets up on the stage. She goes, okay, parents. So as you can see, we've got professional photographers and we've got professional videographers here. So you can all just put your phones and devices away and sit back and enjoy the show. And then everybody picks their phone up at the same time. She goes, okay. And she walks off the stage.
That was a riot.
And it's funny though, because that is how fucking people experience things now. I'll watch UFC fights. I'll watch concerts. People are watching these events through the screens of their tiny little cell phones. And they're not even there. They might as well be at home. Why did you even buy a ticket? You fucking stupid assholes. Okay. So Lynn has got her eyes closed. She is trudging through our marriage and this podcast.
The amount of time I have to listen to him bitch about people and their cell phones is just,
I know.
So Delynn slapped me twice in the face today, hard. And then she also hit me in the face. But not only did she punch me in the face, but she did it with her middle finger. So she was giving me the bird, but she like bashed the bird off my forehead.
That is
Did
so
it happen
fucking
or not?
grotesque.
Did
It did
it happen?
not like that.
Oh,
It didn't.
s-
I
how
fucking
did
went
it
like
hit?
this and I pushed it into your face. Okay, so
Hard.
that you make the finger and then you push
Yep.
it into somebody's face. Okay, this guy doesn't know when to fucking stop. This is the problem with Des. He doesn't know when to
No.
stop.
No.
He doesn't know. You say, gotcha, message received, and he continues, and he continues, and he continues. And I said, I gotcha, already heard, message heard, gotcha, and he continues, and he makes a fucking note and hangs it on the wall. And I take the note down, and he goes and he makes another. And then he wonders why I fucking lose my goddamn mind. He
So-
wonders why.
Let me defend myself. So a few years back, Delynn had turned
No,
the kitchen sink on and plugged it up. And then God, you fold laundry.
No, we're not going to go through a laundry list of things I've done, like the
yeah.
2 bad things I've done in
So-
my 20
so
years of marriage. No,
she
I'm going
forgot
to
the kitchen
just
sink
turn
was
off.
on.
That's it. That's
No,
it. I'm
no,
turning
no,
off the
okay,
podcast.
don't,
The podcast,
don't.
I'm turning it off. That's it.
Don't,
I'm stopping it.
Don't stop it. Don't stop it. Don't stop it.
Shocking.
She
Listen.
flooded the kitchen twice. All right, let's keep going.
How exciting.
Guess what? I
What?
am going to turn off the podcast and I'm just going to delete all of Hey, did you ever see that movie?
Oh,
So-
shit. That's a little extreme.
I would
Yeah.
like to say that the scene with
Ah.
Brad
Thank
on
you, Pat. Thank you.
well, it was the
Take us back
funniest
to the
thing.
movie, Pat.
When Brad goes down the hill after Griffey and he takes out Sarah, which was a perfect flip. And when she catches the baby and he's still going down the hill, he is spinning going down. He's not just going down, he's spinning out of control like a flat spin of an F-14. And you can hear him, all the way down the hill until he hits the glass. I couldn't stop laughing. I almost peed myself.
I love
It
when
was awesome.
Adriana, or when the fucking Dusty's wife comes out after he crushes the SUV and he's still holding on to the snowblower. And she says to Kurt, why didn't he let go? And Kurt goes, because he's a moron.
I do want to bring up that we got another embarrassing moment for Brad when he stands up from the snow and he drops his pants. And everybody in the chalet is watching him. And Kurt's just pissing himself laughing.
So funny.
I can't blame Kurt for laughing. That's very funny.
That was a great scene.
Yeah.
All right.
And the next one
Me-
is
Meanwhile, Dusty tries to get close to his stepdaughter Adriana, but she doesn't like him and repeatedly tells him that he isn't her father. Sarah also tries to bond with Karen, but is taken aback by some of Karen's actions, like shoplifting clothes from a store. Dylan is also developing a crush on the little girl staying in the cabin next door. He gets made fun of it by Megan and Adriana. Later, Dylan approaches Brad for advice on how to deal with girls. Brad tells Dylan that it would be better for Dylan to be the guy that his crush tells all her secrets to, and that he should strive to be in the friend zone. Dusty and Kurt overhear this, and Dusty intervenes with his brand of advice. Dylan runs away, saying he would rather be in the friend zone with her. Later, Rusty. Yeah, we've got now,
Rusty?
instead of Brad and Dusty, it's Rusty. Later,
good.
Brad, Dusty, Kurt, Don, Megan, and Dylan go searching together for the perfect together Christmas tree. This leads to Brad accidentally cutting down a cell phone tower with a chainsaw, electrocuting him and sending him flying through the air. Dusty revives Brad and brings him back from the dead. Brad ends up being charged $20,000 for the destruction of the cell tower. So, Pat, again, another great callback with Dusty's one chest pump sounding like a defibrillator. And Brad goes, did I die again? And Dusty says, just a little bit.
just a little bit.
Just a
So
little
my
bit.
question to you two is this. I understand they're going out to get a tree, and Kurt totally set Brad against and Dusty against each other, claiming that he couldn't talk Dusty out of it. I had to laugh when he said that. But how is it that you pick a tree that clearly has something in it? I mean, come on. How do you say, okay, that's a great tree. You're looking up at it. We're going to take this one and not see the fucking antennas. I mean,
'Cause
this
he's a moron.
is where the slapstick has to start from. Because
I
without
thought it
that,
was funny.
you don't get Brad getting electrocuted. You don't get Dusty doing the two-handed fibrillator again and Brad asking if he died again. You don't get any of that without this scene. We ask it all the time. Why the hell did they write it this way? Because if they don't, you can't get what comes afterwards.
I loved it.
No,
I
this
loved
is
it.
funny.
Fucking I love that Brad says he got his patch in Weebelows, and we're gonna start with a 60-degree cut. And the final scene when the chainsaw is spinning down towards Brad's face and Dusty
Oh, that was
catches it with
awesome.
one hand at the last second. So good. Really
That
enjoyed
was
it.
that's your
Weebelows. Honey, were you a
classic.
Weebelow?
I was.
No.
You were a Weebelow, Pat?
I was.
I think I may have been a
That's
Boy
cute.
Scout for one summer, but I was living in the city, so I don't think we actually camped.
In the
Yeah.
park.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think I blocked
The
out
parking
my.
lot.
I think I blocked out my one summer in the Fenway as a Cub Scout. I don't know what happened there.
Next scene, please.
Next scene. Good Lord. I was a brownie, just so you know.
Hey, a
All
brownie
right.
hound.
Oh, God. I hate you.
I know.
Every
All right.
day.
Brad
Every day.
Brad
to
ends up
deal with
using the
that.
tower as a Christmas tree for the cabin. After lighting it up, Brad realizes that Dawn isn't there. He deduces that his father got separated from them while they were in the woods. Brad and Dusty go to find Dawn, which they do. They find him face down, surrounded by a pack of gray wolves, which somehow Dusty manages to scare away, even though Brad was staring the alpha in the face. The next day, the family. It's just ridiculous. Is that what was pulling my pants?
I thought he said.
I don't
I
wanna
thought I
watch-
felt something pulling my trousers.
I don't want to watch the wolves eat you, Dad.
And then you get the one wolf that's rolling around on him and doesn't trying to snuggle up with him.
Oh,
Don't look at the alpha in the eye. I already did.
So good.
The next day, the families go out to bowl. Kurt manages to talk Dylan into bowling without the rails. He struggles until the very end when he gets one pin and celebrates. Then they take the kids to see Santa. While there, Kurt convinces Dylan to ask Santa for a shotgun. Brad and Sarah tell Dylan that a shotgun for hunting means that a poor innocent animal will lose its life. This convinces Dylan that he's changing his mind, but it convinces Megan instead that she wants to go hunting. While out hunting the next day, Megan accidentally shoots Kurt in the shoulder, sending him to the hospital. At the hospital, Dusty and Kurt begin to bond after they almost fight when Kurt is trying to leave the hospital with his ass still hanging out of his gown. So Des, Megan saying to the nurse, "I just shot a turkey and a man. Guess which one is dead?" Iconic. I love this little girl.
fucking
And then
love this. I love
and
this
then
kid.
sinks below the level of the counter, like
Yeah.
like it was some kind of trick. I'm like that
I
was.
fucking
I'm like,
love this kid.
I'm watching the scene. I'm like, why the fuck is she doing that? Why did she
I love
sink
this
down?
hilarious. She's
So
hilarious.
good. I fucking love this kid. She's such a great actress, and she just built on what she did in the first movie. It really worked for me. I love that we're never gonna get "I love you." Like even in the final scene, like fucking Dusty's gonna say to Roger, "I love you," and then the pans over to fucking Kurt. Kurt's
So it's like,
he's like, Dusty is maybe for your birthday. It's really good. Yeah, so the bowling scene, I thought this was a lot of fun. I like when fucking Kurt is, he's trying to talk to the kid before he rolls this last frame, and he's saying, us Muron men, we show up. Well, sometimes we don't because, we
try
run
to
away
show
with
up.
we try to show up, but sometimes, we get on a red eye to Singapore with a cocktail waitress, and you know what I mean? And the kid's like, no.
No.
It's fucking these inappropriate stories he shares with the kids are just fucking dynamite. And,
I get a joke for you. Two dead
yeah,
hookers washed up on the shore.
It's fucking great. I love the other little kid. Hey, this kid's about to roll a perfect 0, and everybody's, it's all great. And he hits the one pin, and you think he's going to be devastated, but he's not. He throws his hands up. He's so excited. I thought it was really great. And then I love that the little girl is the one who's going to be bloodthirsty to kill these turkeys. And another great scene.
let's face it, she's the bloodthirsty one in the first movie too. I hate you. Like you could see this coming from her.
So
You killed Toomer.
I love when she's got the shotgun and she's lining up these turkeys, and Dawn and Brad are maybe if we name it, she won't shoot it. Gertrude. And they're coming
Josiah.
Yeah, and she's like, "Will you two shut up? I got some turkeys to kill." And
Her best line in that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say she fucking clips Kurt he says, "Don't worry about it, kid. I've been shot worse than this plenty of times." And then she gets pissed and she starts cocking and walking, and she's taking these turkeys out one at a time. And I just thought it was fucking great, man. I thought it was great.
When everybody's talking about him trying to shoot or her, whether they should shoot the turkey or not, and she looks back, "Can I shoot the damn bird or not?" I almost
so
fell out of
good.
my chair. It was so
So good.
funny. And
Yeah.
and after she gets up after shooting Kurt, and she gets up determined to kill one of these turkeys, I swear to God, I don't know what they did, but when she takes that first shot and her body jerks back from the recoil, I almost peed. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, look at this.
So
Yep.
good.
And
So
then
good.
Kurt, hey, two for
Two
two,
for
not
two.
bad.
2 for 2, not bad, kid. I love too that
Actually,
fucking
3 for 3 if
Dusty's.
you think of it.
Yeah, 'cause she got fucking Kurt. I love that Dusty's wife is a model doctor. Like they just, I love how they built that
Model
character
Writer.
doctor
up for it.
author.
Author.
Oh, that's right. That's
Writer.
right. That's right. That's right. And I do like that
And
the what.
and I might like to add to that list, shoplifter.
Yes, I do like that at the end of the movie, it's revealed that she actually looks up to
Sarah.
to Sarah, and she's been writing good stuff about her and developing a character after her. So I thought that was nice payoff at the end.
Oh my God, my neck's killing me from whiplash.
Okay. Nice freeze.
On we go.
Okay, so where did we leave off before we ran off the tracks?
Dylan was shutting the podcast off from me being a prick.
No, that was
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Oh, okay. I'm not cutting that out either. Not like last week.
Yeah,
like
you
I
are
was
cutting it
forced.
out.
I was forced to edit out last week's
Guess what?
end,
I know
and
how to
regret
edit
it.
too, and I will edit it. So don't make me.
What's the next scene, kids?
That night, Brad, Dusty, Dawn, and Kurt go to an improv comedy club where the 4 men are relaxing and having a good time watching the show. Kurt gets up to go get another drink at the bar. Dusty sees Kurt picking up a woman at the bar and leaves with her. Brad enters Dawn into the improv show, and Dusty chooses a topic of a husband confronting his cheating wife as the subject of an improv skit. As the skit progresses, it is revealed that Dawn has actually separated from his wife, who is Brad's mother. Dusty tells Brad that he picked up on it through subtle hints that Dawn gave off throughout the movie. The audience believes that this is all part of the show, even when Brad tries to tell the audience that it's not. Brad is pissed that Dawn lied to him and didn't tell him that he had separated from his mother. The next day, Brad confronts Dusty. After Dusty reveals that he chose the infidelity subject for the improv game because he wanted to get back at Brad, because of how Brad has a good relationship with Dawn, Brad says he knows that is why Dusty chose that particular topic. And to get back at Dusty, Brad has now invited Adriana's real dad, Roger, played by John Cena, to the cabin for Christmas. So at this point, you've had a lot of back and forth from the 4 main characters, and adding John Cena into the mix, perfect, because it's like throwing a hand grenade into it, right, Pat?
Absolutely. You've already got a raging bonfire. Let's throw in a gallon of gasoline.
Yeah.
Like I said, I noticed one of the things, like I agreed with Desmond about how the first one was funnier than the second one, but the second one had more character depth. I agree with both counts because, again, in the first one, you had the funny between Brad and Dusty competing with each other. And then now they're co-dads and they're struggling to work together because the harbor's closed. And now you have to add, yeah, exactly. Now you have to add in the 2 absolute polar opposites of Dawn and Kurt. I mean, these 2 are both such opposite ends of the spectrum. It's they take the part that Brad and Dusty had in the first one because they're working together in the second one, so they're not as funny. Their fathers take that place in the second movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this scene at the improv factory, this is great because John Lithgow is allowed to show us his acting skills. And he's really playing this great. I mean, you feel bad for him. You see that he's hurt. He's he's revealing to Brad that him and his wife are divorced. And and it's nice. I love the way they're doing it. They're mixing comedy and drama, and they're doing it very well. And a lesser actor probably wouldn't have pulled this off for me. Dusty knows, he knows that they're divorced, and he's tired of seeing this, little fairy tale relationship between Dawn and Brad. So he's ready to throw a grenade in it and, he does it out of jealousy, and he feels bad immediately after he does it. He starts seeing Dawn breaking down on stage, and he's saying to Brad, let's stop this. We got to get him off stage. And no, my dad's killing it. Like, he's so dumb. He's such a moron. He finally figures it out, and I love when he yells out, "Let me out of this skit. Let me out of this skit." It's fucking great. And once again, fucking Kurt is going to leave with a woman and not return till the morning. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, just as John Cena pulls up, too.
I don't
And
know what I
he's
missed
like-
here, guys, but it's getting good.
Yeah, and he's just like, Brad, you called him and you told him to come here? He's like, ooh. So, yeah, he loves it. He loves that he's stirring this pot.
Yeah.
The improv scene was really good in the beginning. You've got Brad and his dad as they're watching the show. They're giggling and laughing to each other, and they're having so much fun. And then the camera goes to Dusty and Kurt, and they both get their arms crossed. They're both like hating each other in the world. But then they get a drink in them. And as the scene progresses from time to time, they go from hating each other to being friends and laughing at things, laughing at Dawn and Brad. And it's like you can see changes in faces, like when what's his name? When Kurt rests his forearm on Dusty's shoulder as they're laughing, you can see the look in Dusty's face, like, I can actually think I can start liking this guy. You start seeing changes as the movie goes on.
But then Kurt cuts out on him again.
Again, he falls right back into his old ways.
Right, exactly. So is it that Dusty's being overly sensitive, or is it that Kurt is a fucking cunt? I don't know.
No, Kurt's definitely a dick.
Maybe a little
I think it's a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, because Dusty is now, he's not Dusty of old. He's Dusty 2.0 because of his relationship with Brad.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and
he's
also,
softened up a
Brad's
bit.
relationship with his dad makes him jealous. So
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. You
so
see
he's
that
being
in the
extra
scene or
sensitive.
two as well. You're right.
Yeah, so he's being extra sensitive, and then Kurt being Kurt and being the same Kurt he's always been. So it's a little bit of both, I think.
All right, bring us to the manger.
All right. That evening, the entire family takes part in a Christmas manger representation. Brad gets into a fight with Dusty after Brad wants to play Joseph, which Dusty is currently playing. This breaks out in front of a crowd that is watching. Also, Adriana and Megan are drunk because they snuck eggnog, and Sarah is pissed. Instead of Dusty
the
fighting,
mother was going to allow them each to have one glass because it's got alcohol in it.
Because
She's
it's
such
a
lunatic.
special drink.
The mother, holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
Karen.
Go.
Instead of Dusty fighting Brad, he almost comes to blow with Roger. Dusty makes a snowball and throws it at Roger, but accidentally hits Don instead. In retaliation, Brad makes an ice ball and threatens to throw it at Dusty, but chooses not to. Brad turns around and begins walking away. Don gets up as well and steps right in front of Dusty just as Brad changes his mind and throws the ice ball at Dusty and hits Don inadvertently again. As Don gets back up and walks away, Roger throws the snowball he had in his hand just to get rid of it, which also coincidentally hits poor Don. So
The man's a snowball magnet.
Yeah, poor Don getting belted over and over again, just slapstick gold. It was great.
Yeah.
Oh, when he
Laughed out
took
loud
that
every
first
time.
snowball, in the face. The way he toppled over was like the cartoon characters that fall over. I mean, he literally, stiff as a board, falls straight back. I'm like, that was awesome.
I laugh out loud every time I see it. Every time.
Took the shot in the face. It's
And they
like
do the
watching
perfect
Justin
makeup.
take the dodgeballs in his dick over and over again.
Yes.
Yes.
And they do the
It's
perfect
the
makeup
same
across the nose and on the cheeks, that red that you get when you're cold.
Yeah.
And just, you
And
can
then when
tell he looks cold.
And he
So
takes
funny.
the last one as, that one went down the back of the neck.
So good.
That was awesome. Awesome.
And of course, the whole family's splintered at this point. Roger's mad at Dusty because Dusty says that Adriana's a pain in the ass. You have Sarah mad because Brad and Dusty are fighting and because the girls got drunk. You have, everybody's fighting with everybody. Everyone's mad with everybody. And Christmas is tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
It's
We get some great lines here too. Dusty tells Roger, I played for the Boston Red Sox Farm League as a pitcher. AAA. And then, you got Brad fucking faking to throw over and over. You're going to keep faking that, Brad? Or you're going to throw it? And then you have Roger says to Kurt, he's never played sports in his life. Not a day.
Not a
Some
day.
really great lines here. And then the one guy, kick his ass, Joseph. It's fucking.
There is also another callback to the first movie. This time you had Brad playing the character of Squidward Ty.
100%. It was the same scene. It was the dance scene, basically.
Yeah,
redone.
Exactly.
essentially.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. The next morning is Christmas Day, and all the families pack up to leave instead of celebrating the way they were supposed to. On the way out of town, the families are forced back into town on account of a blizzard knocking out the road. They are forced to take shelter at a movie theater, with every other movie already being sold out due to the huge influx of business from other families seeking shelter in the theater. Both families end up going to see the last movie available, Mistletoe, a fictitious Liam Neeson holiday action film. When the power cuts off during the movie,
Keep going.
okay. Should I mark that?
Fuck. What the
Okay, I
fuck
got
was
it.
that?
What was what?
Okay.
It sounded like the Bush factory.
Holy shit.
Oh, like that old Bush commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. When the power cuts off during the movie, the families go to the lobby where each man confronts their father about the secrets, lies, and attitudes. Don confronts Brad about not telling him about the truth of his divorce, while Dusty tries to talk to Kurt. When Dylan sees the girl he has a crush on is also at the theater, he is teased again by Megan and Adriana. After remembering some advice given to him by Kurt, Dylan walks towards her to kiss her. All of a sudden, he doesn't kiss her, but instead he kisses Adriana, his stepsister. Roger gets freaked out and attempts to leave with Adriana, but is confronted by Dusty. He deduces that the reason why Adriana hasn't warmed up to him is because he's never told her that he loves her. So he does. He also tells Roger that he loves her and says, Roger, that loving Adriana means that loving her real father is important too, and he's part of the family. Roger almost leaves without Adriana, but has a change of heart and decides to stay when everybody starts singing Do They Know It's Christmas After All. And Don and Brad also reconcile. So honestly, I'm usually not a huge fan of singing in a movie that's not a musical, but this is hilarious. You can't fault it.
It's fucking
Very
great. I
cute.
love that it shows Brad banging the big drum to bring Roger back in. And it's really good. And I think that these are all the real actors singing their parts here. I'm not 100% sure, but it sounded pretty legit to me.
Yeah, especially John Lithgow.
Yeah, the
John was
movie's got heart.
definitely real.
Yeah, this
When-
movie's got heart.
The entire that whole scene when they start singing, when Megan starts singing and then Dylan joins in. The first time I saw this, it literally put a tear in my eye because
I didn't cry.
everything was working out just so perfectly at the end, and everybody chiming in, and Karen and Sarah are friends, and they're hugging as they sing their line. And I think the best line in the whole movie. I think I know someone who knows withers no snow. That was just so good. And the camera goes right to Roger, and Roger's, yeah, I know where there's no snow.
Yeah.
He totally broke down.
I love that, they tell Roger, don't drive, there's a blizzard out there. And he goes, I was an alternate in season 3 of Ice Road Truckers.
That was the best season.
Oh my God. I would like to call bullshit because there's no way that you did not watch this movie at least the first time and get a little tear in your eye because you cry at everything.
You know, it's weird. I didn't for this one for some reason.
I got a little teary at the end of this one.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't care enough about these characters. It wasn't that kind of movie for me. Yeah, I just didn't. I don't.
Care
These
about
characters.
the fucking stupid redhead from The Office having a little romance that you've watched for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You've watched these characters for hours and hours and hours. I don't care about them, he says.
I don't
honestly,
care about these guys.
I honestly wish that I could say that this movie choked me up and I cried. I didn't. That's the God's honest truth. I mean, I
The
cried when
heart
Wyatt
is dead
Earp.
and cold.
What do you mean? I cry. I cry. Fucking 60% of the movies I watch. Just for some reason, this final scene, it did not move me.
It
But I
wasn't
thought it was
pussy
very
enough.
nice.
I thought it was
Yeah, I-
poetic that both Megan and Adriana are, who I hate, by the way. I hated that character immensely. Were holding Dylan underneath the mistletoe, and there was a line of girls all lining up to kiss him. I'm like, that is just poetic right there.
Yeah.
And then
It was
you
cute.
see the little boy popped his head out of the
He's like-
line, and I almost burst laughing. It was so funny. I'm like, oh my God, that's a riot.
During the recasting, I'm going to rewrite the movie a little bit with my recast, and it's going to make this movie a better movie. What did you guys think about him kissing his stepsister? No, it can't happen, or can
They're
happen.
not blood. They're
There's
not
no
blood.
blood there, but
There's no blood.
I don't
it's
know
still
if
not
it's going to
great.
fly. Like, they fall in love, they
Not
get
great.
married. It's not going to really work, I don't think.
No,
It's a
that would never
problem.
work. But the reaction of all the parents was appropriate for the scene.
Yeah.
But again, there's no blood between them, so
It doesn't matter.
It's not like you're gonna end up having mutated babies or anything. Closing scene.
Sometime later, at the airport, Dawn and Kurt are
Oh, yeah,
preparing to leave
okay.
to head back to their respective homes. Seeing how close that Dawn and Brad are and wanting that same kind of relationship with his son, Kurt kisses Dusty on the lips. It doesn't really work, but
No.
he tries. Afterwards, Kurt heads up with Dawn to the terminals, and he reveals to Dawn that he switched out their tickets, and they're both going to go to Las Vegas to spend New Year's together, and he's going to wingman for Dawn, which is a nice gesture, especially considering how much Dawn annoyed him initially. As they prepare for Brad's mom and her new husband's flight to arrive, Dusty prepares Brad. When she does arrive, both men discover that Brad's new stepdad is Chesley Sully Sullenberger, the pilot of the Miracle on the Hudson flight. Brad and Dusty remember when they watched the film Sully not that long ago, and Brad appears to be welcoming him at first. When Sully approaches him and asks if he's Brad, Brad says, nope. And Brad runs down the terminal and says that Sully will never replace his father because Sully has only one great personal story where his father has thousands. And that's the end of our movie.
So good.
And he throws one of the person's luggage across the room. I'm looking at that.
Yes, he
And I'm
do.
like, that is a great fitting ending to the two times we've already seen someone pretend that they're not who they are when approached.
I love that they go with this guy too. It's like they had to just keep one-upping every fucking character they introduced throughout the two movies, and to have this guy as the final one, it was just so good.
I mean, you had Dusty was replaced by Brad, and Dusty himself gets replaced by John Cena, Roger,
Mhm.
and there's your one up there. So we're gonna one up Dawn with Sully.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. All right. So let's go to the recasting couch. Delyn, who would you replace and who would you replace them with?
Okay, so the person I'm going to replace is not because they did a bad job, because they didn't. They did a phenomenal job. But I would replace Mel Gibson with Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
We've done that before in other movies. I think it's a good fit.
Yeah,
But that's because it works so good.
Yeah, they're so interchangeable.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
I love Kurt Russell, so
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he's a great actor. Can't do no wrong.
I don't know.
crickets. Make sure you prepare the cricket noise.
Yeah.
I'm thinking replacing John Lithgow with Woody Harrelson.
That's an interesting choice.
But like an older Woody Harrelson, like the man from Toronto.
Have either of you
Wait a
seen the
second,
man
did
from
you just
Toronto
name
yet?
check the man from Toronto?
That
Oh,
was for
shit.
Des.
Oh,
That was
Have either
all
of you
for Des.
Have either of you seen the man from Toronto yet?
no.
What the
No.
fuck
I'll
you
never
waiting
watch
for?
it.
It's a great movie. Oh, you fucking suck. All right. So are you ready? Are you ready for this gem? Are you
Okay,
ready for this
let's hear the
gem?
gem.
Let's give us that deep pick.
So not only am I going to replace this, it's actually I'm not replacing an actor. Well, I am replacing an actor. So the neighbors on vacation is the small Asian girl. And she says that her family's divorced and they're renting the cabin next door. Wouldn't it have been great if the people renting the cabin next door was Bill Burr and his daughter, right? And they just happened to be renting the cabin next door. And then we could have had Dylan's little love affair, little crush, continue on with Bill Burr's daughter. We
The
could have
fourth
got
grader.
more Bill. Yeah, we could have got more Bill Burr in the movie.
That would have been
More
good.
interactions with Bill Burr. They all wind up at the movie theater in the end, and Dylan kisses Bill Burr's daughter, the fourth grader. And it kind of ties that into a nice little bow. And we get these great interactions with Bill Burr and Dusty throughout the movie. It would have made this movie click up another level.
I think there would have been a lot more funny to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have evened out the funny to the character development. Because like you said, the first one was funnier, but the second one was more heartfelt as the characters were developed.
And Bill Burr and fucking Mark Wahlberg had such great chemistry every time they were on screen together. I would have really liked to have seen more of that. And I also think that it would have replaced that kind of shaky idea of Dylan falling in love with his stepsister and just reintroduced the love interest from the beginning, from the end of the last movie. So I think that all would have worked better for me than what we got. I think not utilizing Bill Burr more was a mistake. They had him. So just my thought.
One line. I was deeply disappointed.
Yes, I wanted more. And it was a perfect opportunity to have more. So great job, mate. All right, let's do some final thoughts and some rewatch scores. The look on Pat's face. Pat, what are your...
He gave himself a round of applause, Pat. Did you hear that shit?
Oh, shit. Listen, I'm going to edit down our argument a little bit, but I'm not taking it out. Okay? I'll edit it down to where you completely have a meltdown and start screaming, this isn't fun, this isn't fun.
Will you? Will you? Is that what you're going to do?
Okay. All right, Dylan,
Eat
what
a
are your
bag of
final
dicks.
thoughts and your rewatch score?
My final thoughts are that my husband is a fucking asshole. That's my final thought.
And Pat is clapping. Oh, shit.
I second that motion. I second that motion. Let's put it to a vote.
All right. I would like you to tell the listeners,
All in favor?
honestly, what an amazing husband I've been over the last 20 years. Go ahead. You can tell them.
No,
You can
honestly,
try.
you're awesome. You are awesome. You just fucking like to dance on my nerves because that's like your thing. Your
All right.
jam is like finding the thing that bothers somebody and fucking doing the lambada on it. Like that's what you do. Like
in my
you
wife's
can't help it.
defense-
It's what you do to everybody. It's just
You're
it's like
right.
it gets.
It is. You're not the only
you know,
one he
Pat,
does
you
this
know
to.
he does it to you.
Often.
In my wife's
Very
defense,
often.
I have a superpower. If I was an X-Man, my power would be busting balls and being annoying and complaining.
I've said it before. If you could make money busting balls, then you would be the richest man on the planet because you are so very good at what you do.
And my wife is my perfect foil because she is so reactionary that I just can't help myself. Okay, enough about that. So, Dylan, what is your rewatch
you want
score?
my score?
Yes.
So I'm gonna score it lower than the first one because it's not as good as the first one to me. Like
I agree.
it's still a lot of fun. Like I said, it will go into the Christmas movie rotation. I will definitely watch it again at Christmas time. But it's not as
funny.
I mean, it's still cleverly written. It's hard to say that it's not as good, but it isn't. Like there's just it misses a lot of those super funny beats the first one had. But I give it a ton of credit for all the callbacks to the first movie that were super funny. But does that mean you're just building off of jokes you already told? A little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to give it a 3.95.
All right. And Pat, what are your final thoughts and your rewatch score?
I think that building off of what Dylan said, it's the funny in the first one was because it was focused with Mark Wahlberg as the comic end of that string.
Yeah.
He didn't have that in the second one. So you take that away from that plot and it's just not as funny. I mean, you can replace it with Mel Gibson, and they did a very good job with his gruff, selfish exterior. He softens at the end. It was nice to see. I enjoyed the Christmas scene very much because there was a lot of closure to different things that was taking place in the movie between Sarah and Karen and the fathers and sons. And I'm going to wrap this up before Des's eyeballs fall out of his head. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
3.5 from Pat. Yeah, obviously, I love this movie. As a straight comedy, falls slightly short from the first one, but as a movie, it's slightly better. I would choose to watch the first one over this one every single time. You guys both admitted that you got teared up in that final scene. These were layers we were not getting from the first one. So clearly this is a better written movie, but I agree with both of you. It's not as good. So I am going to score this one slightly lower than I scored the first one. I did give the first one a perfect score as it is a perfect comedy. This one is 4.75 for me. I still think it's excellent, and it is going to be a Christmas movie in my rotation going forward, as Delin had discovered. So, Delin, please calculate those scores and tell us where it falls on the Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie list.
All right. So the calculation takes it to 4.066667. And let's see, where does that land us?
I like that.
It is. Oh, hold on 1 second. It is at number 17.
Okay.
It comes in right above Tombstone and right under Black Christmas, The Heat, and Bridesmaids.
Dude, Black Christmas is still. All right, listen. Wait,
Black Christmas
we
is
need
at
to.
16.
Listen, something needs to be done about Black Christmas. This is a cancer on the list, okay? This fucking movie does not belong
It's
above
a
all these.
16. It's a 16. It's not like
There
it's
is
2.
All right, what's better on our list? Tombstone or Black Christmas?
Black Christmas.
Yeah, there's a problem. We have a problem, NASA. Texas, we have a problem. This needs to be
you can contact
corrected.
Mikki and tell her that her tombstone was not good enough. Her tombstone count was not good enough.
Okay. All right. So in the
But
middle of
above
the night, I'm moving that. I'm
No, you're
going
not.
into the list.
I will remove you from the list.
I'm going to move that fucking movie down the list because it does not belong there above these
Damn
movies.
it.
Okay. Okay. So
Wow, you are having a day.
We will be back next week where we will be discussing the 1980 something movie They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper. We're going to be doing this one because it is being re-released in theaters. We're going to be doing it with Tony, Tony 2.1. No, Tony the original.
1.0, you fool.
Okay. Oh, so Tony the original Coke. Yeah, so that's what we're doing.
Tony Classic.
Tony Classic. I like that. Okay. So we're going to be doing it with Tony Classic. This week on Breaking Vinyl, our sister podcast, one of my co-hosts who clearly has no taste in music has chosen for us to break down Mr. Big. I don't know if you guys remember this yacht rock garbage hair metal corporate fucking shitty band. But yes, we'll
What?
be breaking this album down and I will be breaking it in half, hopefully. So yeah, go check that
Hey,
out.
maybe you'll finally
and,
get something under Jane's addiction.
No, I doubt it because Dave and Ed both love this piece of garbage. So yes. All right. That was fun. So I will go back in. I will edit out the fight by a few seconds. Just I'll take out when you really come unraveled, when the wheels fall off the wagon. And Delin, as always, fun watching movies from different sides of the house with you. Pat, always fun breaking down movies with you. And I'm going to go back to bed because I was sleeping 5 minutes before this episode took place.
That
So
explains
until
a
next
lot.
time, I
Yeah.
have what?
We were saying it's obvious that you were
what?
sleeping until right before the podcast.
Okay.
How exciting.
So until next
Exciting.
time, I just have one question for you. Hey, did you ever see that movie? See you later.
Bye.
Could you guys wait any longer to say goodbye?
I didn't